That is Jim Harbaugh after the game, Michigan head coach with Molly McGrath, thanks to ABC. Michigan wins this one 19-17 in the home finale. I'm Dennis Fithian, joined by Jim Scarcelli. Woo, Scar, just moments after the game, and here we are. Let's hear it, Scar. How did Michigan do it in a game where this one was a pretty wild one? It looked like for the majority of the game, or at least a lot of the game, that Michigan could have come out on the short end of this, or get the short end of the stick on this one. What did you think?
Hey, let's start out with this. There's no question Illinois is the best coached football team we have faced. Ain't no question. The guy's a good coach. He built a strong defense. He's been everywhere he's been. He knows how to coach defense. And their offense was good, tough, physical dudes. We found a way to win, man, Denny. You know, we lose our All-American running back. We put some guys in that haven't got a ton of reps. Found a way to win. There's no question we got the best kicker in America. That's he proved it right there. Pressure kick at the end. It's a great win. Hopefully we get 6, we get 7 back, we get 86 back, we get 2 ready to roll, because we're going to need everybody next week. But we're it's a huge win against a damn good football team, a well-coached football team, and we found a way to win. I
have to admit, when Michigan got down there and the one where they kicked the field goal to come within 1, where they had Colston Loveland, you could see on the replay. I didn't see it right off the bat, but everybody could see it on the replay, where he had Loveland in the end zone all alone, and then he went to Gash, who might have been able to get the first down, and Gash dropped it. I thought, those are the kind of plays that you have to make if you want to win a big ball game and, have a championship on the line. And I thought maybe they should have gone for it right there. I was thinking maybe I would have gone for it. What did you think of that? Were you thinking in real time that was the play to go ahead and kick the field goal there?
No, it was 4th and 11, Danny. That's too much. You got a good kicker. We just got to get a stop. He's gonna. We got our stop. I agreed with it. If it was 4th and 3, 4, 5, something like that. But because it was 4th and 11, I agreed with them. I totally understood it, and I had faith in our kicker, and it played out right.
How about Gash, though? He drops that one, and they come back, and they're facing a 4th down situation, right? And they throw it to, I don't know, you can make a case he's, you can make a case he's the 5th string. I would say he's the 5th string running back. A season on the line after he dropped one. They go to him with the season on the line on a 4th down, and he comes up big. It takes a lot of guts to call, to throw, and for Gash to make the play. After he dropped that one, that was a hell of a play for Michigan, right?
Yeah, Illinois' defensive coaches, I'm just going to say it. They got the better of our offensive coaches, I believe, today. They were right. They had our tendencies down, and I think maybe Michigan said, "Look, they know we're going to, with what we had in the game, that's the last guy they're going to look to," and that's maybe what Michigan's thinking was. But Illinois had our number. They had I don't know how many times they had corner safety blitzes right into the face of what we were running, like they knew our play calling. It reminded me of the struggles we had against Indiana, where Tom Allen was so smart predicting what we were going to run. So we were predictable too many times today. And again, we found a way to win. But we played a good team, but that was a gutsy call, Danny, to go to a kid who is really your 4th or 5th string running back, and with so much on the line, the kid JJ made a throw and he made a catch.
Yeah, Illinois, a hard-hitting team, and they were the best team. Like you were talking about, a lot of props go out to the way that they played that game in the bitter cold. Michigan, when they lose, who knows with Blake Corum, but so they didn't have Donovan Edwards in this game. Corum looks great, but then he gets hurt, and when he fumbled the ball before the half, he comes back, and you think, man, maybe this is like a Willis Reed type situation. The crowd's going crazy. You're thinking, man, to see him back out there, there's no way Michigan's going to lose this game. he goes out for one play, and then they just came back and they couldn't go to him anymore. How about McCarthy in this game? Obviously, he was struggling throwing the ball, and then and yet the pass that he threw to Andrew Anthony was a stone cold drop. I mean, he makes that one, and we're not talking about maybe the the thrilling finish there. What about the sophomore quarterback's game? They were good when he would take off and try to use his legs. They weren't having any JJ McCarthy,
Yeah.
so he had to do it, had to make some plays there. He ended up making enough to get the win. But what did you think of JJ?
Yeah, they took away the quarterback keep. A lot of the run stuff that we've done against some teams. I thought JJ was good enough to win. That's for darn sure. Roman drops a pass. Anthony drops a pass. We dropped too many passes. We're not helping them. We made some plays in there, and he overthrew our tight end down in there, and he wasn't perfect on a couple passes, but 0 interceptions. He makes plays with his legs. Our receivers got him. We got to help him, man. These guys want to whine and complain. They're not getting enough touches, enough looks, enough. Make a play, man. Make a play. So our receivers got to start helping out more. But I thought JJ was good enough to win. Was he the difference? I don't know, but our receivers we got to help more.
I like come back. I agree with all that. There was a catch that Roman Wilson made late in that game, which was a really good one. And the tight end Loveland, man, he's already a star. I mean, you don't have your top 2 running backs, you don't have your top 2 tight ends, and Loveland is out there, and he's the number 1 target. In crunch time. I mean, they needed him, and he's come up big. That was huge. Those guys, gash and makes the one play after he drops one, and then Loveland was pretty awesome, and then Roman Wilson late made a big catch there. I don't know. For me, it was one of those things that I thought last week, and with this focus on the passing game, that McCarthy was struggling a little bit to pressing, and you see athletes do that when you're having a hard time in one part of the game, and I thought that was even more evident this afternoon. He just didn't have the the kind of touch and accuracy, and I thought Blackledge made a good point. It happens a lot with running quarterbacks. I mean, they got great arms and they got great feet, but they're you don't have your base, and and you're off. I don't know if that's what it is with McCarthy, but here he is after the game on ABC talking about getting the W.
Keep moving. I mean, I trust every single guy on this team, every 143 of us, and it's just honestly staying in the moment like I always preach. Next play mentality in the moment, and we got it done. Just got to get it for this guy. I mean, I knew he wasn't going to miss once we got it down there.
Scar, I'll give it up to him. He did not have. It was a game where you looked at him, and if you hadn't watched Michigan, you're like, man, this guy's not a very good quarterback. His accuracy and everything else, but he has that turn the page, get to the next play, and he obviously he made enough to get Michigan into the winner's circle. Before we move on and talk about next week, what else about this game you look for? There are a lot of twists and turns in it.
Well, Danny, I just believe JJ was good enough to win. I don't see him at all as having a bad football game. So I'm not on the same page with that. I thought he was good enough to win. Blackledge said that we weren't on the same page with our receivers. That was said many times, and I saw that many times. Like, Andrew Anthony looking over one shoulder, JJ throwing it over the shoulder. Who do you blame? I'm not going to blame the quarterback. I'm not going to, that's not right. It's the coaches, it's the players. They're not on the same page, and that was often, that we weren't on the same page. Luckily, this young freshman is stepping up at the tight end to give us some more there. But I was really confident the way we started this game out, Danny. God, I mean, we were running our best football play against them who, they run their best football play is our best football play, the power. Yeah. And we took it right down, and physicality and got, had to get in there on the goal line and got it in there on third. I think it was third down. We got it in there, but I thought, hey, we're going to roll, we're moving the ball here. But I could totally see how that team won at Wisconsin. Totally can see it. That was no fluke because of the kind of defense they play and the offense they play, a quarterback that can run, receivers that can make plays, smart coaches. That's a big win, though, Danny. That is a big win. And we had it circled all year long, and we knew it was going to be tough, and it was.
Yeah, it was a big win. When you have your bread and butter go down, and you don't have, you've got lightning and Corum and Donovan Edwards, and then you don't have Donovan Edwards, and then Blake Corum comes out. The first drive is surgical right down the field. Michigan looks great. They're backed up to their own end. I think they threw the first screen to Corum or any running back, the first one of the season, and it goes for a big gainer. I mean, Michigan looks great, and then they, they were in for a fight, and then losing Corum, like they did. I thought, in the second half that whoever was calling the plays, and then even with Jim Harbaugh, it was like, are you really going to, continue to go to your, and then I thought, Stokes must have got hurt. Are you going to continue to run the ball in situations where maybe you should be throwing it, giving it to a fourth and fifth string running back? I'm thinking, wow, man, these guys are staying with their game plan because this is the way they got there all year long. But hey, these are fourth and fifth string guys. In the end, I think you back up because there's a lot of I could argue with you about, hey, JJ didn't have a very good game. I get what you're saying about the receivers not being on the same page, but he just couldn't throw it. And I know the one, it would have been a different story if, Anthony hauls that one in, but he didn't look like he had it today. I think he's pressing. I think it's one of those things, but he gets to the end and he has a chance. I mean, he has an 11-0 team and he's going out of Columbus. He's playing for a championship. So there is that other side. There's no reason for me to sit here, yeah, McCarthy, he couldn't do this, couldn't do that. He's got a shot to play for a championship. So we'll see if he's able to go down next week and, give Michigan a shot to beat the Buckeyes.
Yeah, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than one guy, though, Danny. We're going to need everything. And, this was almost the kind of game, if things could have gone wrong, it went wrong. I mean, we start with Corum and some of that holding penalty. JJ made a great play on that little run down there on their sideline, and they call a hold on Zinter. I thought that was a terrible call, but if it wasn't a bad call, then he shouldn't be doing it. And those are things he hasn't really done. We haven't done all year. We get on the goal line, we punch it in there with 6 offensive linemen. We bring 53 and 52 in the game, and we get that going there. But I thought our offensive line pass protected really, really well. We had El Hadi start another game at left tackle, or left guard. So you got a lot of guys that were out. We converted on 4th and inches, couple times in there, and that was not an easy team to move the football on. I thought JJ had a bad read. Talking about one time he ran the football, he could have kept the ball on one of the RPO reads and had a good long run in there. But who would have thought Stokes would have been such a crucial guy now? Where old Scar was saying all along, I want to know who our third running back is, and let's start getting them ready. In some of them earlier games. And now who knows? Let's hope Corum and we get 2 and 7 warming up next week. We get 86 warming up. We get 77 out there warming up. We're going to need all them guys next week.
Yeah, well, if you get half of those guys, it feels like Michigan would have a puncher's chance. If they get 2 and 7 back, look, you feel pretty good about their chance against Ohio State. Yeah, field goal kickers are weird because you say so many times red zone touchdowns, and then Moody's won a couple games here for Michigan this year. You don't have Jake Moody. You're not sitting here talking about an undefeated season, and he was the MVP today coming up. Those are clutch kicks. I mean, those fourth quarter, got to have them. All the field goals that he made, obviously, when you win by 2 points, and he's just potting them in the freezing cold out there. That's big time performance by a big time kicker, All-American Lou Groza, number 13. You can't say enough about him. I don't know how many people have compared a guy that plays in the defensive line, a true freshman, to a guy that you played with, and Mark Messner. But I saw it today. A couple of those things. I'm like, this is Mason Graham reminds me of Mark Messner, great All-American, 4-time All Big Ten for Michigan. He's college football Hall of Famer now. Mason Graham in the first half stood out. The big other freshman, Kenneth Grant, one time came down the line, smashed Brown, the running back. I liked what I saw from him. But Michigan, they didn't have Mike Morris in this game, and for a lot of the game, it looked like they really missed big number 90 on the D line.
Yeah, I tell you, well, getting back to 55, he what did Jim call him? A gift from the football gods.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I watched that kid because they got the California stuff on at night here in Michigan. I watched him play at Servite High School. I don't know, 4 or 5 times last year, and I guess only Boise State offered him. And Michigan came in, and then I think he got some more offers after Michigan came in, but. That kid is. That is a great job picking that kid out and bringing him to Ann Arbor. And he made some huge plays in there. The future looks good there. You talk about Grant, and you talk about Graham. The future is definitely good there. I don't like Denny. I don't like all the rotating today because it was so cold. We saw 4 or 5 edge players in there. I just put myself back into that position. This is a kind of game. The starter doesn't need many. You don't need to come out much. And I just thought we played too many on the edge to get a rhythm, get a feel. There were times I didn't think that Moore was ready to play in this kind of a game. He got pushed around a little bit. There were times I thought our scheme, I'll get into the defense a little bit, but you touched on special teams, Danny. I want to go special teams for a second. Did he make 5 today or 4? How many kicks? Whatever it was, outstanding. I totally agree with you there. We got the best kicker in the country. But how about our punt return team? Okay, that first punt, we don't catch the dang ball, and we end up starting on our 5-yard line. I don't know what happened there, but they made a change. They put Ronnie Bell in the game, and that was a huge change. I don't know if Henning's hurt because I didn't see
he didn't play today.
Okay, well, then Ronnie Bell was a huge factor, man. Ronnie Bell was big because that one, he had that one big return in there.
Yeah, 42 yards. That was huge.
That was huge. Ronnie Bell was a factor. Our kickoff team kind of let us down. First time all year, we let them start on almost the 40-yard line. Our punt team was good and sound. Our punter was kind of average. Our coverage was good. But our punt return team was good. Our extra point team was good. So, yeah, we won the kicking game today.
Yeah, 4 for 4 for Jake Moody. So needed him. And I wanted to go to Chris on the instant feedback. And, he says he doesn't care 11-0. How we played and play call today has no impact on next week other than the injuries. He says, enjoy it. We did it. It's all good. And I think there's a point to that. Like, we could sit around. Like, if, all game long, I'm sure. I mean, this was one that had you on the edge of your chair jumping around, and Michigan wanted it. And they didn't win it a few times. They seemed like they lost it like 4 times, but then they came back and won it. So there's a little bit of that stunned, like, they are doing this, and Corum's hurt, and oh my God, there's no way anything's going to happen next week. And then they found a way to win it. And at that point, like, sure, you want to look back and say, God, man, McCarthy, these receivers, they can't do anything, and they're dropping the ball. We got a 5th-string running back, we're throwing it to them. All that kind of stuff. They got a W, and it is the time now where you're playing for a championship next week. And there's not been many times, Scar, where Michigan has sat in the position that they are, undefeated at 11-0, and, going down, and, they beat Ohio State, they could still win a national championship. So, I mean, there is that part. Yeah. You don't like this, you don't like that, all the injuries. You're playing for a championship. I mean, so there is that part too.
Well, heck yeah. I totally agree with you, Chris. Totally agree with you, man. It's more than one guy, Yeah, I'm just, I'm over here trying to, I'm seeking perfection. I want Michigan to do great things. So I'm going to analyze it and break it down and see where we can be better. But I'm total believer in those players, total believer in them coaches. I'm trying to put myself on that team right now after that tough win. That locker room is celebrating. They're celebrating because them seniors, they send those seniors out, their last home game winners. That was important. I guarantee you they talked about that all week. So that's a huge win from that standpoint. And they were probably barking Buckeyes in that locker room. And, we're confident and we're, it's nothing, nothing to be ashamed of. 11-0, confident. And I believe those guys will be back and, feeling great about things. So, I totally agree with Chris.
Here's a Wolverine, JRG, go blue, beat OSU. He's into it. How about that? Trepa, unfazed by the weather. Kay said it was a tough watch. Let's get to some of this feedback here as we go through it. Jordan, JJ missed some key throws and receivers dropped some big passes that we needed. Scar, how about we haven't mentioned John on the feedback said beat OSU. How about a word on Michigan's chances against Ohio State? We don't know the availability of, about 5 or 6 guys, which is obviously going to be huge, a key. I don't know if we'll know anything until kickoff.
Hey, Danny, the $1 million question, and I've said it, the $1 million question with that football game is just like we found out today. Illinois has a great defensive scheme, great coaches, and they defended us better. They did not have better players than Penn State. No way did they have better players than Penn State, but their coaches they had a great scheme and they understood what Michigan does. And that's why it was difficult for us. So when we go play Ohio State, a lot is going to be on Knowles, and we're going to find out. And I said it, and I've been saying it now. I'd rather go against that Ohio State scheme than this Illinois scheme. I said it a couple weeks ago, and now I really believe it because I think we're going to move the ball better. I think we're going to have more success. I think we're going to block their front. We're going to pick it up. So I feel real good about our chances there. From that standpoint. But
how about speculation? How about speculating a little bit on Corum's injury so that he was able to come back and at least give it a try? Do you feel like, a little, a bruise on the knee there, a little extension, and it's something that, possibly, being able to work on that he could, give it a go just on a wild guess, Scar? I mean, you're a better guess than, you've seen these type of things. So what would be your guess?
Well, it's encouraging because they have really smart doctors and trainers and all that, and they had smart people look at him at halftime and they decided to let him try again. So that's encouraging. Can this thing get squared away in a week? I don't know. What's going on with do we know? Was Donovan even dressed? Do you know?
No.
Okay, so we don't know what's going on there. Was Scooney dressed? We don't know.
No,
anyway, Denny, as far as Corum goes, and the only encouraging part is that they did let him try again. So, is it just something a pain thing he's going to have to deal with? That's no structural damage, then more than likely we're going to see him.
Yeah, I would have just, here's my guess. Anything can happen and all that kind of stuff. But knowing how Michigan has played and what their identity is, that they have to have Blake Corum against Ohio State, because even in the second half, you saw it, I'm sure, to the dismay of everybody watching. But, then they ended up winning. So it's great, that they're able to do it. But, they're still running the ball with the 4th and 5th string running backs over there in key critical situations like, 3rd, 4th, 3rd and 4, they're handing the ball off to a 5th string running back. You're like, wait a second, this isn't going to cut it. I mean, any team, I don't care who you are, whoever has the best running back room in the country, you start getting down to your 4th and 5th string guys, you're going to have to adjust a little bit. Michigan was like, no, we're going to just keep doing it. That was kind of amazing. So, but, so they have to have Corum, or, it's going to be one of those things where they're going to have a really tough time. So, I mean, that's just, to me, it feels like a bottom line.
Yeah. Denny, the good part about today, is that Stokes and Gash, they got some serious game time reps. Okay. This wasn't mop up time against Hawaii. So that's the upside of those guys playing as much as they did. But let's just be confident that we're going to see 2, 7, the whole gang ready to go next week. Let's be confident with it. A couple of times I saw 2 receivers running the same route. That was a problem. We weren't on the same page on a wheel route. And, the thing about Scooney, again, it was pretty obvious today, Denny, without him in the game, we're not running the ball behind Loveland that much. So that's something that is a problem that, because no Scooney, now we got to run behind 84, and they know we're not throwing it to him, and they know we're not running behind 18. So this is why I hope to see 86 back in the lineup too. These coaches are smart. They look at everything. They know what you can run with who's in the game. Guys a lot smarter than me. And I'm just looking at it, taking a quick peek at things. I know these guys are breaking it down a lot further than me, but I'm just glad we don't got to deal with those defensive coaches. Cause I'm just feeling real good about going up against the Buckeye defensive scheme.
I want you to take a look at a play here, Scar. This was pretty important in the game as we take into the fourth quarter with 4:38 to go. A 4th and 4 for Michigan in here. And let's go ahead and run it. This is the play where I think they go to Gash in the biggest play of the game, which, they get down there 17-13. And I was thinking maybe some end arounds here late.
Oh, no, that was the one to the field there to Roman. Yeah, that was a great throw. That was a good scheme. Now that's a good stuff there. That was to Roman. Great throw by JJ. Good catch. That was to Roman there. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, that's a hell of a catch right there.
Yeah, hell of a catch, and it was catchable. That wasn't no great. It wasn't like it wasn't a overly difficult ball to catch, but it got it done, kept the drive alive, led to another field goal, but
Yeah, we'll come back. We're looking at a second and 11 as the clock ticks down. Just look at some of the calls and maybe get your impressions here, what they were doing, what they were looking at.
Yeah, that you just got to catch that, man. Again, in defense of the kid, he I know what it is to play in front of 100,000, and he's been in there at mop-up time. Okay, now he's in there, and everybody's looking at him, and he's probably done it 100 times in practice, and he just choked. Just got to take a deep breath. 100,000 people, national television, and you just got to take a deep breath, catch the ball like you're playing catch in the backyard. And he won't, and he didn't drop the next one, Denny.
No,
he didn't drop the next one. And you know what? He's going to be better. He's going to be better as we move forward. He now has played in a pressure game, and he's made pressure catches, so he'll be better. We said that about Alls. How much time we said about Alls when he was a young guy? Now, JJ just got to throw that one over the top of that linebacker. He had him there, and that little bump. I think that little bump on Loveland kind of got him off course, and JJ they weren't on the same page, but. We said Alls couldn't catch the ball a couple years ago. Remember, Denny? And then he got settled in, and then he didn't drop anything last year. So same thing with Gash. He'll probably end up being a great receiver for us out of the backfield.
Hey, well, look, Gash, he's doing the opposite of holding his head down because he came back, and that's the story of sports, man. Inside of a game, you can have a huge blunder, but if you come back and redeem yourself on the next series like Gash does, and you end up winning the game, it's like it's the great story of sports. Strike out every time, or let one go right between your legs in baseball. But when it comes down to the ninth inning, you pick it and start the double play or make the big play. That's what sports is all about.
Danny, I want to say this too. My initial observation was, and again, I think I was right many times, that their defense really figured out and had stunts right into the face, into the teeth of what we were doing. So I got a problem with our coaches from that standpoint. But at the same time, they had to make huge adjustments with Corum not in the game, and with Stokes and Gash in there, and we just said we're not going to. we're not going to modify what we did, but they found a way to move it a little bit, but obviously not enough.
What did you think of Illinois? I mean, they're only up a point, and they come out, and there's 3 minutes to go, and they're just like, we're going to run the ball up the middle and make Michigan burn their timeouts, but then we're going to punt it back to them. I mean, that was a pretty conservative type approach that Bielema went with. This is on the other side.
I thought he was going to, I was texting my brother. My brother played at Illinois. He got a Big Ten championship ring from the Illini. And so we're texting each other back and forth. And I thought he would have booted him out and tried to throw on second down. And because I think Bielema's a gambler. He's shown that at times. And he went by the book. He had faith in his defense, but his punter really let him down at the end there. They punted the ball, a terrible punt. That was a big factor for us. But again, I don't like that we rotated so much. I thought that was a problem for us defensively. What was good? Something that we did, Denny. Well, go ahead. I'll let you run this play then. But I did like how. Here we go, 3rd and 7.
This was pretty big. There ends up being, I think, a penalty on this one, right?
Yeah, they hold Michael Barrett on the blitz.
What'd you think of that?
Well, it was a little, there were some real tight calls that were, questionable, but that was, he did hold them. But for Jim to now say, okay, let's go give him another crack, because Bielema, you never know if he's going to go for it there.
Yeah. I mean, if it's probably a long yard or 2 yards, he probably is declining that one. What's your on that?
Yeah. I was worried there that he's going to throw it up and get but one thing we did good, a good job with defensively is we did the little shift deal like Nebraska tried to do to us last week. Remember how Denny, our linebacker, said shift, and our D line moved real quick, and then we got them to jump because he was going to go for it on 4th down earlier in the game. I don't know if you remember that call. But that was something that our coaches did that I give them credit for. But anyway, that's a good stop there. They held Michael Barrett. And we get him punting now we got to get him 3rd and 17 here. And he just decided to just run the football in there to try to help out his field position, give his punter a little more room but their punter lets him down here.
Yeah.
Anyway, they just run a little zone play here.
I mean, 3rd and 17, once you get backed up right there, I mean, you could say, hey, throw it to the sticks or something like that. But if you throw it and it's incomplete, you're basically giving Michigan an extra timeout, right? So they had to use their final timeout there. So now it's really coming down to the defense. So this punter.
Yeah, but kicking game too, Denny. Kicking game is huge in this game. Huge in this football game. We get their punter let them down here. Okay, that's part of the game. Their guy let them down. Our kicker was outstanding, and their punter didn't get it done.
Well, if I'm with Brett Bielema and I'm an Illinois fan looking at this, you could say, the defense played a hell of a game in the second half, and you knew they were without obviously with Corum and Edwards, like in the way McCarthy, I'll say it, the way he was throwing the ball, you're in with a pretty good chance if you're Illinois, the way their defense had played and the way that Michigan's offense had performed. You have to feel like maybe they could come up, with a stop to, win the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They got their running back out. They got 3rd and 4th, 5th string running backs in there, but again, we get the ball at the 50-yard line here.
Yeah. You're hoping that one, if you're Illinois, takes a bounce and an Illinois bounce for 10 or 15 yards there. That one just stopped and like a putt on the green, Scar, when you're over there, a little wedge into the green. You want to get it to lay up. And this one, you're the kicker. You want to see that one run. That didn't happen.
Yeah. So anyway, we take this. I don't know how much you're going to show here, but we get.
I don't know. How much you want to show? This is the drive, right? This is the.
Okay, here we go.
Drive, Scar. What?
It was kind of disappointing. All them students that didn't come today. You see how empty that student section was?
It's cold, Scar.
Well, come on now.
Up,
Nick
right?
Saban ain't having that. Remember Nick getting on the fence? We got to have you, man.
Well,
we needed the students today.
They smart.
Here it is. Big play. That's 1st down. That was They had trouble. But they did a good job keeping all that stuff to little gains, man.
Yeah, there's some stuff. This drive is like a microcosm of not just Michigan's season, but of this particular game here, because there's a few throws here, and this is one of them where they're not on the same page. And then when it's down to, the crunch time, you wonder what some of the decisions that were being made and some of the throws that were even being made here.
Yeah, see, look at this, though, how quick they converge, man. Just little things that their defense does. That stuff isn't by accident. Against other teams, those are, 12, 15-yard runs for JJ. These guys are smart. Here we go, 3rd and 3, and then we don't block. Zinner misses his block there. I had to run that back a few times. That should have been an easy pickup, and we just didn't. It was a mental mistake. We don't block the right guys.
Yeah,
maybe we'll look at that play on Monday, but we just didn't.
Scar, I'm saying that was the one. I mean, a 3rd and 3.
But then it should have been. If we block it right, it's an easy first down. Easy, because they're playing pass. We didn't block the guy. I'll show you Monday. We didn't block him. It was a gift. It was a gift. We gave him a gift.
This is Gash's play. If you're
here. Yeah, we just they just saw what kind of coverage they were in. But then what we don't know is how many times that kid has done that in practice. They see a different Gash that we've seen the kid maybe 20, 25 plays all year. Yeah. They've seen that kid do a 1,000 different things. We haven't, so we don't know what he's done. So the coaches obviously had faith in him, and but got it done. And, we work it down in here now. What do you do now? You got your great kicker. We need to give him a little more space. Yeah, my brother was complaining about this call. I'm like, come on, man. They grabbed his arm. I mean, he couldn't even get his left arm across there. It's not the initial tug. It was at the very end. He couldn't even pull his left arm in to catch the football.
Yeah, I know. Let's take a look at it. It was a huge play.
Yeah, it's not the initial contact. Right, that's not the hold, okay? I don't think.
Right there. I mean, he got his hand
out. As he's coming around now, he can't even bring his left arm up because he's holding it.
That's a tight. So, I got to believe
a good call.
Sure, but also was that Kojo? He had his arm out like as a not only an arm bar. I mean, he was kind of engaging him as well with a little hand fighting. I can see. I mean, that was a tight call. That's a tough one. I'm not over here saying it was a terrible call. I'm saying it was a close call.
I mean, if you can't get your left arm out to try to catch the ball, somebody's that's a problem. So that was a big play. Now we're in field goal range.
Play. I think Bielema was probably talking about that one right now.
And this is kind of risky, but that's the athletic ability. I'd like to see him run that thing and pick up 4 yards, but JJ's a gambler, man.
Yeah, I was wondering about all kinds of execution down here late. I would have thought that you're thinking about you're in field goal range here, and maybe you shouldn't be throwing up close to a 50-50 ball there. But that wasn't close. Neither guy was catching that one, right? So maybe JJ, that's what he's thinking.
Yeah.
I'd also say this about JJ: like his mentality is like, he doesn't care what the time and score. I mean, he has to care what the time and score is, but about like, hey, it's really crunch time. Let's have a free flow and play here. This one was pretty dangerous. Were you thinking that?
Well, they're bringing the ranch too there, Danny. They brought 7-8 guys there, man.
This was a bad call, I thought, by the officials. I did not think that this was a catch. What did you think?
It was close. So they called it on the field, and I just thought it was.
Well, you take a look at it, and did you think the Corum fumble was a fumble, Scar?
Yeah, I think that was a fumble. Yeah,
but
he was starting to lose control.
We're taking a look at it. You tell me. Walk us through this one.
Yeah, I just, I thought it was enough.
Yeah, it's the one thing. I point this out. Like, look, calls go, you hope that they even out of the course, if not the season of your lifetime. Like, if you're a Michigan fan, Michigan got 2 really favorable calls on this drive. This Kojo catch, to me, if I'm up in the replay booth and I'm just trying to be honest, I'm watching it. He catches the ball, but then the point hits the ground and it's not a catch. Just like that on the, you can't replay defensive pass interference, but I mean, the game is on the line. There's some hand fighting in there. And, if I'm an Illinois fan, I understand. I like I say, like, I can understand what they're looking at and complaining about. If Bielema, he was crying in the first half. I bet he was crying about that one in the post game.
Yeah, I agree with you on those calls evening out, with the football gods over the course of time. But it just always seems we get the shaft against those guys in green down the road. We always seem to get more bad calls against those guys.
Well,
but anyway, you want to look at some of those comments. McCarthy won the game. What was that? Yeah, better athletes against Ohio State. He had a few drops, but it's not solely on him. Yeah, it's the whole deal, man. You're right, Steven. It's the whole deal. We got to be better. Illinois was good. Well, our coaches will definitely look at this Illinois film and know that we gotta do a better job against what the heck they did. I heard Jeff Brom talk before he was going to play Illinois, and he was talking about things that they do on defense. And he said they basically make you throw. They make you, and they don't care if they get beat. They're just going to grab you and have a 15-yard penalty if they get beat deep, because they're going to focus on stopping the run. So here we go, 3rd and 5.
20 seconds to go, Scar.
Yeah. So, yeah, you got to throw the football here, man. You have to throw it.
I would have just thrown this one out of the end zone.
Well, they kind of, it's kind of a low risk play, and they defend it pretty good. I guess they were trying to throw the back shoulder fade there. Maybe it looked like.
Yeah, that to me that's not low risk, but that's just you're the former player.
Yeah, in their eyes it was. You don't want to throw it near the middle of the field. You don't want no tip passes, and we did have a tip pass.
That's what it was. Yeah, and I don't know, like, sure, you're the ones that know about.
But this thing has been great here, man. This whole deal here, the long snapper, the holder, and
guess what? That's where I ran out of time.
Anyway, we know how that finishes up, but again, it's that backup long snapper Carr out of Utica, kid from this side of the neck of woods here, doing a good job as the long snapper, and that whole thing was great to go along with our. But Denny, we didn't talk enough about our defense. I mean, come on, man. I got a couple notes here on defense that I thought we did a pretty good job tackling in space. Again, we're going to get better athletes next week, but we did some good things tackling in space. This is the kind of game Junior is good. Junior did some real good things in there. You want to run the football. Again, people want to beat up Junior. He tackled well. I don't like bringing corner safety blitzes. I don't know how many times today you look at one of the things you look at is when they brought corner safety blitzes off the edge, their guys made plays. We brought corner safety blitzes and we had problems. So our coaches got to do a better job coaching it. I'll take a look at some of that stuff Monday. But, I thought, again, our run defense was pretty good. But we had some mental mistakes. I thought their second touchdown, Danny, I'm going to look at that Monday. We just didn't have enough guys there. That's coaching. We didn't adjust right. They got 5 dudes over here. We got to have 5 dudes. You can't have 3 where they got 5. They come out in a formation with, guard, tackle, tight end on the same side of the line of scrimmage. You better have some bodies there. And we weren't lined up right, and they ripped us for that touchdown. That second touchdown had nothing to do with players. It was all adjustment. It was all coaching adjustment that we didn't get our guys lined up right.
Yeah. Having seen Michigan all year long, and we don't know what kind of personnel, is there anything like all year long? And I think this is a lot of just Michigan fans. I think along the way, they're hopeful about Jim Knowles' defense being soft or not being tough enough to play in cold weather. Those kind of things. And, Michigan's plan was all along, this is the way that they've coached it. This is the way that they've played it. And they executed it this way, was going down and trying to run the ball on Ohio State and keep it away from them. Let's just take the 2 scenarios, Scar. What if they are down to their, 3rd, 4th, and 5th string running backs here? Michigan's going to have to change their game plan. What's your thought on that?
I don't think we can. We have to still be able to run the football. We still got to try. I mean, that's what you can't. Obviously, you're going to have to probably throw a little more than you may have, but they're going to still honor and work to defend our run game. We can't just let them, not worry about defending our run game. So we're going to have to do it. We're going to, Stokes and Gash, hopefully they're just in backup roles next week, but we're going to have to at least have an attempt to run what we run. And, again, what's frustrating about this game, this was kind of like an old school Michigan-Ohio State game in a way, because their offense was very much like our offense. I'm talking about Illinois again. Their offense was very much like ours. And there was times that was discouraging was they ran the darn power play better than we did. And it was kind of discouraging that we couldn't defend our best football play at times. So, but Ohio State, they're not going to be as good at defending our power play, I think, as Illinois was, because their guys don't see it as much in practice. They don't see again, both Michigan and Illinois run the same stuff. So it was your defenses are going to have an advantage knowing how to defend that. Predictions next week. Danny, you see that there?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I see. I'm going to stay confident. I see Michigan playing a great defensive football game and keeping the Buckeyes under 27 points again. And I see the Wolverines finding a way to get 30. That's what I see. We're going to control the football enough. We're going to secure the ball. Our kicking game is going to be great. We're going to create some turnovers on defense. We're going to stuff their run game. They're going to throw the ball a little bit, but we're going to keep them the short passes, and we're going to keep them the field goals again, like we did last year. It's going to play out just like it did last year. We're going to keep them to field goals in the red zone. We got tackle in space, keeping the field goals in the red zone. That's what the defense has to do. 30-27 Michigan.
All right, 30-27 Michigan. It's 4:32 on Saturday. Scott, I would say that if Blake Corum plays and he's close to 100%, that I'd give Michigan a puncher's chance there. If Michigan doesn't have number 2 out on the field, look, in this game, this was going to be a tough game. If they had number 2, they had number 7, they had right down the line when we're looking at it, Schoonmaker 86, and we don't know. I mean, these guys could all miss the game. Maybe they'll get 1 or 2 of them back, but I have to think because of where Michigan sits injury-wise, as I'm sitting here on Saturday, and maybe Friday we hear some things and we feel better about it, I can change my mind a little bit about the game. But I think it's just sit here on Saturday. 11-0 has been a really good year for Michigan, but I think that where this game is being played and everything that I have to look, I would favor Ohio State in this game, and I would say that that they would win it. As I sit here right now, something like 35 to 35-25. That would be my pick today. That's me, but I don't like to say that sounds so discouraging. Scar, go ahead. Let's go back to your pick. You think Michigan?
Listen, man, I'm confident. I'm just thinking how those guys are thinking in that locker room. Ohio State's got a couple running backs out too, okay? And these guys, they're on scholarship. Stokes is on scholarship. He's going to get squared away. If he knows he's starting a football game, he'll be a better player. So, yes, he's not Corum. Corum is going to find a way to get it done. And Donovan will probably be back. So I'm just staying confident, man. I'm just staying confident.
There's nothing wrong with that. That you're staying confident. Vince isn't confident. He said this one didn't give him much confidence. I don't think you're going to get any word on Blake, but, I'll check in the remaining minutes that we have here. Heck, we could go all night if we wanted. I can tell my voice. I was doing a little yelling during this game, a little bit like, what's going on here? Why are you throwing that? Those kind of things were happening. Let's see if we can get something from Ann Arbor and just what is being said. Scar, look over all those notes and give me a final word or two on where you're sitting for all of those that are listening and watching. Scar will look through the tape, and on Monday, he'll go through and tell you what he is looking at. I can tell you that Jim Harbaugh, after the game, said that Blake Corum was, quote, cleared to go back in. His knee is structurally good, which is great news. There's your quote from.
That's great news, man. Listen. My overall take on this Illinois game is our defensive coaches had some schematic issues that I did not like. I thought we got misaligned. I thought Illinois did to us many times what we did to Penn State. They got us misaligned, and some of the schemes we were doing, I think it's just tough to do defensively while they were able to run the ball in there. I'll point that out Monday. So our coaches did not do the best job to give our kids a chance on defense. It was adequate at best, but not good enough. And offensively, I think the same thing with our coaches, that we didn't fool Illinois hardly at all. You got to find weaknesses in what they're doing. And I think our it was a combination of plays and players. Our offense, our players didn't help out enough. We didn't make enough big catches and big plays. But we found a way to win, man. We're mentally tough. We were prepared. It's not like we didn't try to prepare for this football game. It's not like we were looking at Ohio State. I could tell they were playing hard. Our team was playing hard, and they were, and they prepared with everything they had. It just didn't, it just wasn't perfect. But we found a way to win. So I'm totally happy as a Michigan guy. I'm satisfied. I'm happy, and we're gonna have a great week of practice. And based on what Jim said. Man, it's 30-27 Michigan.
30-27 Michigan, says Scar. Jim Harbaugh called Jake Moody in the postgame a legend. Said he is nominating him for legendary status. Moody said that was the first game winner that he's ever kicked. John was saying it was big call by the coaches to kick that field goal with 3 minutes. We did talk about that. I was... And Scar, you said a 3rd and 11. At what point would you have said, to hell with it, we are going for it here and not kick the field goal?
It was 4th and 11 there, and he had faith in his defense, and it was just too many yards, man. 4th and 5, yeah, but 4th and 11, it made sense, and he got faith in his whole deal there, his kicker, his defense, and Jim knows his team.
Yep. So there we are. What's this week like, Scar? You've prepared, been in preparation for Ohio State week before, batten down the hatches. What's it like being a player, getting ready this week for this for the game?
Yeah, it won't be hard getting guys mentally ready to go. It'll go by fast. The preparation. And you're just spilling everything you got. You're looking at film. The coaches are just grinding like they've been for 11 weeks and try to get the best game plan. And hopefully we've been working on this stuff at times in spring and in the fall. And that we've got a lot of Buckeye stuff already ready on both sides of the ball. And, these guys are just getting mentally ready to play a great football game. And we're confident. We beat them last year. We're confident. That we know what we got to do to win this game. I remember as a player, you had Big Johnny be playing the Bob Ufer and the broadcasts of the Michigan Ohio State game, and it's a big event, man. To play in this game is a huge opportunity for these kids, and the game it's going to be like it was and like it always should be.
Well, yeah, this is what you hope. You want to be undefeated heading down to Columbus. It's weird because when you go through a game like this, it's like us speak. Scar does a good job speaking as a former player and a longtime coach, and that's great to have that balance. Watching this game from a fan perspective, this was like being in a torture chamber. Like this one felt like most of the game. When first of all, Corum getting hurt, we know what football is. We know at any time, every play, that somebody could go down. I mean, it's part of the game. It happens, but the wind, if you're a Michigan fan, really felt like it just goes out of the sails there. Like you're just sitting. Halftime was a complete downer. Everything was a real bummer. And it was almost like, and then again, it's not Scar's like, coach, we got to play. The fans are sitting there thinking the season's over. Blake Corum's down. And then, here he is. And for those that aren't old enough to remember Willis Reed, he comes back for the Knicks and, goes out on the floor and gives it a go and only scores a couple buckets. But everybody was rallied and, you're thinking, hey, here comes Corum. He's out there warming up. He's on the bike. Everybody's fired up. And so you're re-energized. And when he goes out there and, goes on the run, he has that one run. He's kind of squirted forward a little bit. You're thinking, all right, man, this is kind of storybook stuff, at this point right now, looking like the guy's going to be out. And, your worst fears or whatever else, but then he's back out there. Now it's turned out to be a great story. But then, no, you're only going to get one carry out of him in the second half, and Michigan's going to have to go to their Stokes. And then, I don't know, I think Stokes must have got hurt because then they're going to the 4th-string guy. Then they're going to their 5th-string guy. They had neither of their top 2 tight ends for this game. They didn't have their top 2 running backs. I don't think at the end they had their top 3 running backs. They didn't have their top left guard. They didn't have their number 1 defensive lineman. The list goes on there. And
but Denny, that's great coaching, man. That's great coaching. That's great recruiting. You gotta, the great coaches prepare. You're always you always. I used to tell my coach, hey man, we're gonna hope for the best, but we are always gonna prepare for the worst. Always prepare for the worst. You better have second man, third man ready. Jim played for the same coach I played for. He understands the importance of that next man. So I guarantee you, those guys on the sideline, even with Corum tweaking like he was, I guarantee you they were confident and motivated. They were confident and motivated. I just believe it that that we're still a confident bunch when that happened. Maybe the play, maybe it didn't play out great and it didn't look great, but I just believe those guys were still confident because I just put myself in their shoes, which I've been. And I just got to believe they were still confident that we were going to find a way to win.
Does Michigan want a blizzard in Columbus? They want it really cold. I think it's probably going to be really cold. What do they want? Or
listen, I think they rely on the pass a little more than we do. So the wind would help us. But I think I looked at the conditions. It's going to be a pretty nice day. It's going to be warmer and no wind. So we just got to find a way to win, man. We throw the ball too. So, but listen, man, the first play of the game on both sides of the ball, felt real good about this game that we moved them and they moved and they weren't able to move us. So we'll look early on against the Buckeyes. I think we're going to have movement. We're going to move their front and we'll see if they can move us. But I feel confident.
All right. My final thoughts are this particular game here was one that, I think a lot of people were expecting. I don't know what the people were expecting. I was a lower scoring game, but with Illinois playing the kind of same game that Michigan played. And, Illinois, if you looked out there and you're like, man, this front seven, they're pretty good. Michigan, and, I know Blake hit a couple plays, but they weren't allowing JJ to do anything with his legs. I was impressed. There were a few plays. I remember Stokes in that safety. I know he wasn't in the front seven, but the secondary coming up, some safety goes down the line and just smokes them. And there was a lot of that where you're like, man, Illinois, they're a sure tackling, hard hitting team. This is going to be tough. And then everything that happened with Corum and then to Michigan, I didn't have much confidence in JJ McCarthy. They're working with 4th and 5th string guys. And, I'm wondering why, they're not adjusting as play callers, those kind of things as I'm watching the game. But, here they are. They find a way to win. Some of the passes, even late in the game, even that last one, I was surprised that they threw there. But, when you come out in the end and you get a win, you say, great job. And they're 11-0. That's a great job. And now we just have to see what's going to happen. Who's going to be out on the field and is going to be available for them coming up on Saturday.
Denny, just wrapping my thoughts up. A lot of guys out, a lot of problems, didn't play great. Coaches weren't good, found a way to win, and we're 11-0, and we're going to be fired up. Going to have a great week of practice.
All right, Scar, we'll be on the Good Afternoon Michigan Football Show all week long, 1 o'clock. Jim Scarcelli will be there 1 o'clock on Monday with further thoughts on this game. And we'll see how different his thoughts are when he watches the film and pulls a bunch of different plays out and talks about it. That'll be Monday at 1 o'clock. Scar, great job. It's always nice to talk with you. And, Michigan 11 up, 11 down. Now they're into Ohio State week. Great job.
Go Blue. Go get them Buckeyes.
Thanks for watching and listening. That'll do it.